A big misunderstanding led to terroristic charges on an Ohio University employee. He's not your typical courthouse employee, but he's bringing comfort to victims.
And in sports, Ohio men's basketball is gearing up for a tournament in Charleston and will be without their best player. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
An Athens County judge dismissed a felony charge against an Ohio University employee who made terroristic threats to fellow Nelson Dining Hall employees on November 6th. Good evening, I'm Jacob Solleather. Thanks for joining us. After hearing testimony, Judge Todd Grace ruled Monday the prosecution failed to show probable cause to believe 38-year-old Curtis Embry made a terroristic threat. County Prosecutor Keller Blackburn says Embry's text message to coworker Samantha Atwood saying, quote, "You guys want trouble? Now you got it. I'm taking all of us down," was taken out of context. Blackburn says Atwood was fearful she and her coworkers would get fired for information Embry knew, so she forwarded his message to other employees.
Which is what caused the university to act appropriately in this time of being fearful of what was going on without context. You know, obviously the threat is not an illegal threat, but a threat of, informing the employer of something that was wrong.
There will be no felony charges, but the case could receive a misdemeanor when reviewed by the city prosecutor and OU police. Another Ohio lawmaker resigns over inappropriate behavior today, marking the third resignation over misconduct in the Ohio Senate in less than a month. Ohio House Speaker Cliff Rosenberger said in a statement today he asked for and received the resignation of Republican State Representative Wes Goodman. Rosenberger also said he was alerted to details of Goodman's involvement in inappropriate behavior yesterday afternoon. Goodman responded in a statement today saying, quote, "I sincerely regret that my actions and choices have kept me from serving my constituents and our state in a way that reflects the best ideals of public service." Goodman was in his first term serving Ohio's 87th district. A state senator wants to toss out the idea of expulsions for kids who are in the third grade or younger. Republican Senator Peggy Lehner is proposing the ban on expulsions and out-of-school suspensions. She says there's a clear link between suspensions and the drop in academic achievement among students who are minorities, disabled, or from low-income families. The lawmaker says this can go a long way to closing the achievement gap for disadvantaged students.
When suspended, a child is robbed of days or often weeks of learning every single year.
There were 36,000 suspensions among preschoolers through third graders last school year. Of those suspended, 90% were economically disadvantaged. Lehner's proposal still allows a school to expel a student based on violent behavior. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau Chief Richard Cordray announced today he plans to resign at the end of the month. The resignation fuels speculation that Cordray plans to run for governor of Ohio. Cordray has been the agency's director since 2013 when Obama appointed him. Congressional Republicans and the banking industry have been fierce critics of Cordray's regulation of companies' interactions with consumers. His resignation also paves the way for President Trump to reshape the CFPB. 10 people from Ohio and West Virginia could face felony charges after they were caught at a bear baiting event in Meigs County. Sheriff Keith Wood says his office and the Ohio Department of Agriculture Enforcement Division executed a search warrant at licensed bear owner Clinton Bailey's home. Bailey was allegedly operating a bear baiting event, an illegal animal fight under the Ohio Revised Code. He reportedly released several dogs inside an enclosure with the bear to attack the bear for entertainment. Ohio Dangerous Wild Animal Program officials seized the bear, and Bailey and all adult spectators at the event are subject to criminal charges.
Well, good evening from the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm forecaster Ethan Emery, and many of you are drying out right now as that cold front made its way through the area earlier this evening, and temperatures right now are shaping up to cool down tonight, as currently we're seeing temperatures around 49 degrees with that cloud cover in the area. Winds out of the west-southwest about 9 miles per hour, and you can see the dew point kind of muggy at 44 degrees with that temperature very close to the dew point, bringing the humidity up to 76%, and that pressure is beginning to rise after that cold front made its way through the area. And across the area, temperatures are still in the upper 40s because of that cloud cover, so not much change there. But earlier this evening, I took this photo from the Skylab Clippinger camera from Skylab's website. You can see some of that rain that's coming in earlier and that cloud cover persisting through. the area. And if you have any photos, be sure to send them in to us at WUB on Twitter or Facebook, and make sure you include the location and the source of the photo. And today was kind of, the temperatures were about average time of the year, but in the 7-day forecast, Jacob, I do have some cooler temperatures coming up in addition to warmer temperatures.
Awesome. Thanks, Ethan. We'll be looking forward to that weekend forecast. An Ohio mother accused of strapping her 9-year-old son to the roof of a moving van so he could hold down a pool appeared in court yesterday. She offered no additional justification for why she told Milwaukee officers she thought the act was okay. Hillary Mintz has the story.
Amber Schmunk's attorney blocked her face as they walked into court Tuesday morning. The 29-year-old mother from Fredonia is charged with a felony, second-degree recklessly endangering safety, after prosecutors say she strapped her 9-year-old son to the top of her minivan to hold down a plastic pool.
A child on the top of the van holding a plastic pool.
A driver called police as she watched the bizarre sight back in September.
Got her plastic going and she got the boy off the top of the car with the pool. So I don't know what she's doing.
Schmunk eventually took her son down, but according to the criminal complaint, when a Saukville police officer confronted her, she told the officer her son was riding on top of the van for only 20 to 30 seconds because she had no other way to strap down the pool. She also said that she believed it was okay, as her father let her do things like that when she was that age.
Amber, do you think it was still okay to strap your son to the top of a moving vehicle? Is there anything you'd like to say about these charges? Anything you'd like to say on behalf of your client?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Schmunk is due back in court here next month for her arraignment. If convicted of this felony, she could face up to 10 years in prison.
After police arrived, Schmunk said she believed it was okay because her father let her do things like that when she was a kid. A routine court hearing in Kentucky took a dramatic turn when the suspect tried to make a run for it. Derek Wright in the red jacket was going to jail after a Jefferson District Court found him guilty of wanton endangerment and domestic violence. When the judge allowed Wright to make a phone call to his mom, Wright tried to make a run for it. After 3 seconds, a deputy brought him down and tasered him. Wright will now be facing new charges after he allegedly hit the deputy in the face and gave another a bruised knee. Coming up, Roy Moore remains persistent as calls insisting he drop out of the race increase. And new video shows widespread destruction in Iran after an earthquake killed almost 500 and injured more than 1,000. And later in our show, we'll give you a look at one courthouse's unique way to calm victims before they take the stand. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
President Trump returned to the White House today to a very busy Washington, from tax reform debate on Capitol Hill to the allegations against Roy Moore and calls on the Alabama Republican to drop out of the race. CNN's Omar Jimenez is in Washington with the latest.
President Trump back in Washington, saying his 12-day, 5-country trip to Asia was really great. Top of the agenda in Washington, tax reform. House and Senate Republicans have put forward different plans while the president has been gone, but aides say he's been involved.
This president's a very hands-on president. He was very much in touch with the debate, and he was speaking to Leader McConnell and Speaker Ryan frequently through the trip. So he stayed very engaged throughout.
But not all Republicans are excited about the new proposal to add a repeal of the Obamacare individual mandate to the Senate's plan.
Tax reform and reduction is something that I'm very much in favor of. I believe that if we start getting into health care issues with the individual mandate, that we send a very mixed message.
Meanwhile, there have been an increasing number of high-profile Republicans calling on Alabama Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore to step down after allegations of sexual assault.
Roy Moore should step aside. The women who've come forward are entirely credible. He's obviously not fit to be in the United States Senate.
And though President Trump hasn't yet spoken publicly on the matter, he has been talking privately with other top Republicans.
The president called me from Vietnam on Friday. We had a chance to discuss this issue. There's no question that there's a deep concern here.
In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez.
The National Republican Senatorial Committee has ended a fundraising agreement with Moore. However, the Alabama Republican Party has yet to issue a statement on Moore and its support for him. Survivors are struggling for help in areas devastated by Sunday's earthquake along the border of Iran and Iraq that killed over 450 and injured thousands. As officials from Iran promise help, survivors say they are lacking basic necessities. CNN's Jomana Karadache has more. We apologize for some technical difficulties. We may get that package to you as soon as possible. Thank you. Hitting with a 7.3 magnitude, though, Sunday's earthquake is recorded as the strongest earthquake of the year. Now, the most popular employee is in the courthouse in Nebraska, and it isn't your typical person. Here's a dog, and he provides comfort to victims as they prepare to take a stand in court. Don't miss that story coming up next.
The next couple of hours are pretty quiet, but the 7-day forecast has a lot of action going on. Don't miss that coming up next on Newswatch.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm forecaster Ethan Emery, and a lot's going on the next couple of days. We do have the cold front coming in tonight. It actually just went through earlier. Cloudy and cool temperatures tomorrow, but then going into the week coming up, we're going to look at a roller coaster ride of temperatures. And you can see hour by hour for this evening that these temperatures will be going down some, as 8 o'clock temperatures only in the 48 degrees, with a chance of rain here and there, kind of spotty. But then by midnight, going down to the mid-40s, and then by 4 a.m., lows are going down into the upper 40s, as we do see those winds increase with that cold front that made its way through. So overnight lows, we're seeing the lower 40s to upper 30s in places, so 37 over in Chillicothe, 38 down in Jackson, and here in Athens, 39 degrees with that cloud cover persisting through the area. And it's going to be pretty windy, too, because you can see this low pressure system right up here in the Great Lakes region, with this cold front making its way through, bringing a lot of winds coming in from the north and west, which will bring in more winds, bringing those cooler temperatures for tomorrow in store as a high pressure makes its way through, bringing in cloud cover for most of the day for your Thursday. And we're going to watch the next over the weekend this system right up here. It's going to cause a lot of havoc for many locations. We'll talk about that here in just a second. And tomorrow morning for the bus stop, pretty cold, so pack a warm lunch for your kids tomorrow, as it will be kind of windy and cloud cover. Jacket and a scarf will be needed for the kids. Those winds out of the north and west about 10 to 15 miles per hour, and those cool temperatures. But it will rebound, but not that much, because lows or high temperatures will only make it into the low 40s. So 41 at 8 a.m., 43 at noon, and only lower 40s at 4 o'clock as that cloud cover sticks around, with the winds kind of being anywhere between 10 to 15 miles per hour. And you can see cool and breezy, but below average for this time of the year, because average highs are about 54 degrees. And yeah, we do see highs around 43 degrees for tomorrow. But like I mentioned earlier, are you ready for the roller coaster ride? Woo! Because temperatures are going to go crazy with this over the weekend, because Friday, 52 degrees for a high. Saturday, 62 degrees. So very, very warm, as we do see above average temperatures and the rain coming in. But then Sunday, yes, Sunday is going to go only a high of 40 degrees. And yes, not only rain, but also snow in the forecast. So yeah, the 7-day forecast, we see 43 degrees tomorrow, 52 on Friday, like I mentioned. And yeah, Saturday and Sunday, a lot's going to be happening there. So we keep a close eye on that. So watch tomorrow and on Friday to see the latest updates for that. And you can see as after Sunday, temperatures are just going to plummet down. And then for Monday and Tuesday, highs only going into the lower to mid 40s. And then by Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures going back up in the upper 40s, with a chance of rain coming in Tuesday into Wednesday. But Jacob, I know you're looking forward to Thanksgiving. It's a little early, but the climate models are showing that on the week of Thanksgiving, we're seeing below average temperatures in store for many places around Ohio. This is from the Climate Prediction Center at the National Weather Service. And then it's also be below average in precipitation, so it'll be kind of dry and cold in store for your Thanksgiving, Jacob.
Thanks, Ethan. That's not the news that I was looking for. Marietta residents will see a spike in their sewer rates this coming year. Sewer customers can expect an 11.89% increase on their first bill in 2018. Both residents inside and outside the city limits will experience an increase, since all sewer customers are billed the same rate. The average increase each year over the last 10 years is around 9%. A courthouse in Nebraska has a very special employee, Manny, a Labrador retriever who helps calm children before they take the stand. Aaron Hassanzadeh has the story.
Right here. Sit. This is Manny. You can pet him. He won't lick you.
Manny's job,
Hey, if you put your hand... Oh, thank you.
is to put people at ease and provide a sense of comfort, especially to victims who have to testify at the Sarpy County Courthouse.
When they start becoming very emotional, you can see that he will get a little bit closer. He'll place his head on their lap. If he's on the floor, he'll roll onto their feet.
He's not only Gene Brazda's right hand in the victim witness unit,
He's got his own calendar.
he's the calming force of this courthouse.
argue that having Manny around could taint the jury's decision.
Hey everyone, I'm Mitchell Lyons. Coming up in sports, Ohio volleyball is on a roll, but they're traveling into enemy territory. The Bobcats head to Oxford for the MAC tournament this weekend. And it's 1 versus 2 and 4 versus 7 last night in college basketball. A potential Final Four preview saw 2 extremely close games. All that and more next on Newswatch. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back, I'm Mitchell Lyons. Tomorrow, the quest for an NCAA tournament berth begins. The Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament is underway tomorrow. After a season ravished by injuries, Ohio found their stride and won 7 of their last 9 matches. Ohio earned the 4 seed in this year's tournament and a bye to the quarterfinals. They will play the winner of Buffalo or Eastern Michigan on Friday. Ohio is trying to make the big dance for the 12th time, and the tournament takes place in Oxford, and Ohio's match starts at 4:30. Despite all the injuries, 3 players received awards for their play. Tia Jimerson was named Freshman of the Year for the MAC. Setter Vera Giacomazzi became only the 2nd player in Ohio history to win Setter of the Year. Jimerson, Giacomazzi, and Lizzie Stevens were all named to the first team All-MAC. And Ohio hoped to win the MAC title are all but over after suffering a 37-34 loss to the Akron Zips last night. For Ohio to win the division, they need Kent State to defeat Akron next Tuesday. The Bobcats opened the game with a 68-yard rushing touchdown by Nathan Rourke. Rourke had 110 yards passing and a $165 on the ground and 3 total touchdowns. It was a back-and-forth game. The largest lead either team had was 11 points. Poppy White dropped a 4th down pass, and Akron got a 1st down to seal the game. And also in college football, Notre Dame and Georgia's loss this past weekend gave the college football rankings a totally different look. Georgia drops from number 1 to number 7 as Alabama takes over the top spot. Clemson bumps up to number 2, followed by the University of Miami at 3, and Oklahoma at number 4. And last night in the Championship Classic, number 1 ranked Duke battled it out against number 2 ranked Michigan State in the first of 2 games. Grayson Allen scored a career-high 37 points as he led the Blue Devils to victory over the Spartans 88-81. And in the second game of the night, number 4 ranked Kansas matched up against number 7 Kentucky. Stanislav Mikhailuk led Kansas with 17, and Devontae Graham came up clutch. Graham hit his free throws down the stretch to help Kansas top Kentucky 65-61. And the Charleston Classic begins tomorrow. The Ohio men's basketball team is one of 8 teams from around the country to compete in the event. Their first round matchup against Clemson. Depending on the result, Ohio will play either Dayton or Hofstra. Ohio will not be at full strength, playing without Jason Carter. Carter missed the opener with a foot injury, and head coach Saul Phillips said he'll be out a little while. Tip-off is set for 5 o'clock. And this week, Major League Baseball is announcing their awards for the regular season. Last night, Rookie of the Year was announced, and of the NL, Cody Bellinger of the Los Angeles Dodgers, who led the Dodgers to the best record in baseball. In the AL, it was Aaron Judge, who hit 52 homers, which is second in Major League Baseball, edged out Andrew Benintendi, just enough to give them a win. And just before our broadcast, the AL Cy Young Award was announced, and Corey Kluber became the second Indian to ever win, or became the first Indian to ever win 2 Cy Youngs, and Max Scherzer took home the award for the National League. I'm Mitchell Lyons, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Jacob.
Thanks, Mitchell. Thanks, Mitchell. We apologize for all the technical difficulties we've been having this show, but let's get back to Manny. So a courthouse in Nebraska has a very special employee, Manny, a Labrador retriever who helps calm children before they take the stand. Aaron Hassan Zada has the story.
Right here. Sit. This is Manny. You can pet him. He won't lick you.
Manny's job,
Hey, if you put your hand, oh, thank you.
is to put people at ease and provide a sense of comfort, especially to victims who have to testify at the Sarpy County Courthouse.
When they start becoming very emotional, you can see that he will get a little bit closer. He'll place his head on their lap. If he's on the floor, he'll roll onto their feet.
He's not only Gene Brosda's right hand in the victim witness unit,
He's got his own calendar.
he's the calming force of this courthouse.
That is Black.
The most popular employee here.
Say hello. Hi, Manny. They love him, and they expect to see him.
While that face is priceless, Manny is worth about $48,000. Given to Sarpy County at no cost.
Good boy.
Thanks to the nonprofit Canine Companions.
He's like my shadow. Wherever I go, Manny goes.
And taken care of, on and off the clock, by Gene.
And he has about 4 pounds to lose. He doesn't like to hear that part.
But everyone here at the courthouse will tell you, Manny is worth every penny.
That I know that he's earned his keep, and he's doing exactly what we want him to do.
Most of the courthouse staff say they enjoy having Manny around, even those who were skeptical of the idea. However, some defense attorneys argue that having Manny around could taint the jury's decision. Let's send it back over to Ethan Emery for our final weather.
Well, thanks, Jacob. Tonight, all the rain is gone at this point, so just cloudy skies for the rest of the night. Lows around 39 degrees with those winds picking up out of the south and west. And then for tomorrow, only 43 degrees for a daytime high, as this will be cool and breezy with that cloud cover persisting throughout the day. But the 7-day forecast, a lot's going on because it's going to get warm starting on Friday and Saturday. So we get highs in the lower 60s on Saturday, but then Sunday, temperatures drop down. And then by next week, temperatures in the mid-40s.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Jacob Solleather. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org. Have a great night.
Buddy, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.